The Aghori sect of the Shaiva sect, which is predominantly practiced in the Uttar Pradesh state of India. It is considered the only surviving branch of the Kapalika sect today. Like the Kapalika sect, the Aghori perform rites with dead bodies, live in cemeteries, smear ashes from cremation on the body, and use human bones to make kapalas, human skull bowls, and ornaments. The Aghori are usually male, but in Bengal, women can be Aghori, living in crematoriums, but must wear indecent clothing. The Aghori sect worships Shiva in the form of Bhairava, and believes in liberation from the cycle of rebirth, moksha. In addition to consuming corpses without disgust, some Aghori enjoy having sex with the corpses of women, having ritual sex with prostitutes, but do not have sex with men. In India, a group of Hindu monks meditate, eat, sleep and indulge in sexual intercourse amidst charred corpses, move around naked, eat human flesh, use skulls as cups and smoke marijuana. They only leave their retreats, isolated from the outside world, during the Kumbh Mela, a grand Hindu pilgrimage to bathe in purification and worship at India's sacred rivers. The monks live on the fringes of Indian society and are known as the Aghori, which means not terrifying in Sanskrit. But their unusual rituals arouse curiosity, disgust and, most importantly, horrifying. Dr. James Mallinson, a professor of Sanskrit and Ancient Indian Studies at SOAS, University of London, says the motive behind their essential practices is to transcend the norms of purity in order to attain enlightenment and oneness with God. Dr. Mallinson, who graduated from Oxford University, is a guru or ascetic of another sect that practices strictly. But his group adheres to a code of purity, which considers the practices of the Aghori as forbidden. But he has had contact with the Aghori on several occasions. The Aghori practice focuses on the taboo and breaks it. They reject the normal concepts of good and bad, Dr. Mallinson says. Their way of spiritual practice involves perverted and dangerous practices, such as eating human flesh or even their own excrement. But they believe that doing these things that people generally detest will help them achieve enlightenment. The current practice appears to have come about relatively recently, with the term Aghori only gaining traction in the 18th century. They incorporate many of the practices of the Hindu Kapalika, skull bearers, a group of monks whose name means skull bearers, a group whose records date back to the 7th century. The Kapalika also practiced human sacrifice. But today, this sect no longer exists. The Aghori, a prominent sect of Hindu sadhus, stands out as a mystical figure in the spiritual landscape of India. Known for their unorthodox practices and unconventional lifestyles, the mystical practices of the Aghori are often feared and revered for their deep connection to the divine and their quest for spiritual enlightenment. The origin of the corpse-eating cult. The word Aghori comes from the Sanskrit word agora, which means not terrifying or fearless. The Aghori tradition has its roots in the ancient tantric practices of Hinduism. These ascetics follow the path of the left hand, a form of tantra that incorporates unconventional and taboo rituals to transcend the limitations of the material world. The Aghoris believe in the omnipresence of God, viewing all things as embodiments of the divine energy or Lord Shiva. Their philosophy challenges social norms and perceptions, urging followers to look beyond the duality of good and evil, the sacred and the profane, and embrace the divine in all aspects of existence. Cremation ground meditation. Aghoris often meditate in cremation grounds, surrounded by ashes and human remains, to confront the impermanence of life and achieve spiritual enlightenment. Consuming human flesh. Despite the popular media buzz, not all Aghoris practice this. Some believe that eating from a human skull can help overcome their fear of death and understand the cycle of life and death. Use of cannabis. Aghoris are known to use cannabis as a sacrament to shift consciousness and aid in spiritual practices. Beliefs of the corpse-eating cult. Skulls and bones. Aghoris adorn themselves with human skullcaps, bone jewelry, and carry skulls as symbols of their liberation from the material world and the cycle of life and death. Smearing ashes. Using ashes from cremation sites symbolizes their willingness to accept all things, even impure things, as divine. Nudity. Some Aghoris abandon social norms, including clothing, to represent freedom from societal constraints and ego. Misconceptions and realities. Despite their unique practices, Aghoris are often misunderstood and alarmed. While some Aghoris engage in rituals that challenge social norms, many focus on meditation, seeking spiritual enlightenment, and providing guidance to seekers. The Aghori sect is characterized by its unconventional practices and fearless spiritual exploration. It presents a unique aspect of Hinduism. Although their rituals may be uncomfortable for some, understanding their philosophical roots reveals a deep commitment to transcendence. Whether viewed with curiosity or caution, the Aghori tradition challenges preconceived notions and invites contemplation on the nature of the spiritual and the sacred.